It's 13 takes when slide calls. The summer breaks, the sky falls. The rain begins, and on the box some Leon spins to insulate me from the icy aftershock I feel each time that slide calls.
Don't touch that phone, 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 don't touch that phone.
I am not here, I'm making my escape. The me you hear is magnetized on tape. I'm flying south for snorkeling and sleep.
What up, Local 1700? We back to basics. That's what I'm gonna call this series over the next couple of weeks. Back to basics, right? I do encourage everybody to go pull up some of the old podcasts. Actually, I'm gonna start posting some of them. It'll give you a thorough, in-depth look at the grievance procedure and some of the other policies or contractual language that we have talked about over the last several years. But today we're gonna talk about chain of command, grievance process and procedures, 66C process, call in and call offs, and that medical, because we seem like we got a lot of folks jacking up on the medical. I'm gonna start off, matter of fact, with the medical. Obviously, when you take a medical, you got to call it. It's mandatory by contract after this last contract that you can't just take a medical without going to see a doctor and filing a SEGWIT claim. It's mandatory. Everybody have to do it. It used to be that you could take a medical. It was up to 5 days. You didn't have to necessarily go see your doctor or file a claim. You had to go see your doctor, but you didn't have to necessarily file a claim. Now you have to file a SEGWIT claim.
And get paid for it.
And get paid for it. You're right, Chuck. Thanks for stopping me. And you got to actually, it got to be approved.
That's what it is.
It got to be approved.
Medical
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So, and that's a big change. Now, for some who got hired in 2023, 2018, maybe they didn't recognize and see that. But back in the day, that wasn't necessarily the case. You know, some people be like, hey, I ain't going to be out that long. I don't need the money. I just want to, I need whatever I need to do to take care of my medical issues, not come back. But now it has to be an approved medical SEGWIT claim. But along with that, how many days you got to start that medical, Ron?
7.
7?
7.
So I can't do it on the 8th day?
Can't do it on the 8th day.
Can I do it early?
You can't do it early.
I can't do it early? Can't do it early.
No, you got to do it on that. So I don't want you to say, like, do it early, meaning when you first do the claim, you could do it before the 7 days.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, before the 7 days. Yeah.
So I always recommend
Early.
Yeah, I threw you off on that. Yeah.
Our people get a little. Our people want to put in a medical claim now for next month. Whoa,
No.
I just want to make sure.
It's better to, when you call, so you got to call into the plant.
Yep.
When you call into the plant.
And you got to call.
Then they'll transfer you to Sedgwick.
And if you don't, you need to make
Then if you
call.
don't, you need to call it, right?
So,
Right, 'cause that's what's happening.
So what's going on, what you were saying, Chuck, that I was asking you is, if I call in today, I call in today, it's my first day, can I call medical and start my claim immediately instead of
sir.
waiting 7 days?
yes, sir. Yes,
So-
sir.
So you call into the plant.
Yeah.
Right, not
You gotta have
Sedgwick.
that call into the plant, then they will transfer you to Sedgwick.
It's
I
key
don't
to
call
make
it
sure-
Sedgwick.
Right.
It's key to make sure you get confirmation numbers
Yeah.
for both.
That's what I was about to bring up, for both.
2 confirmation numbers.
And write them
You
down.
say the right thing, like FMLA or is it whatever it's for, say the right thing, because we have to get the recording, and sometimes people.
It's very difficult to get them
Exactly what
sometimes.
they say, they
Yeah.
think they say it, so.
So just for clarity, at the latest is 7 days. You have to call in no later than 7 days. Get both confirmations. They typically would transfer you over to SEGWIT, but in the event they don't, you need to call SEGWIT, okay? Get the confirmation from your call-in from Chrysler, and get your call-in from this call-in from SEGWIT. 2 different entities, 2 different companies. Chrysler employs SEGWIT, but they're still 2 different companies. Once you get that, write that down. In order to be approved for those absences or excused for them, it must get approved through SEGWIT that your claim is not only legit, but it's substantiated through your medical doctor.
So
That'd
you
be
got-
fair.
So that's fair. So you got one more piece to that.
What's that, Jay?
So you got 30 days for your doctor to submit the paperwork
Mm-hmm.
back to Sedgwick after you call them before the 7 day is up.
What about Dr. Jack got the paperwork, or he going on vacation, or whatever the case may be?
Better find somebody else to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
But don't wait till the 30 days. Think you're gonna go to your doctor in the 28th day, 25th day, and get the paperwork so you can return back to work. Because we have had a lot of cases where the doctor's on vacation out the country,
Mm-hmm.
or he doesn't have a practicing partner, or you got to go see another doctor and you got to get in. Don't wait till the last minute. Once you had that last checkup and you got a return to work date, you need to start buttoning things up at that point.
And it can't be a nurse practitioner, right? It has to be a MD or DO.
Yeah.
That's correct. So here's my piece of advice, and this is for the younger generation, but even for some of us older generation. Even if you're not in need today, get a doctor, because you'll be surprised how many employees or our union members don't have a personal doctor, a doctor. And here's the reason why: because over a period of time, you develop a relationship with that doctor. I remember when I started really going to the doctor for whatever issues I was having. Hey, I'm a UAW member, and my company is a butthole. And here's the 7 criteria they request. And he looked at it and he'd be like, I'm not doing it. But after I built the relationship, he understood that this is what my company, my job requested I bring in or I submit. And then it got to where they had to fax it over and things of that nature. But a lot of times doctors are not going to sign or co-sign or sign something unless they already have a relationship with you. And you need to have that relationship with your doctor. So I'm encouraging, the generation out there nowadays, you may not be sick, but start going to the doctor first thing for your health reasons. Second thing, so you can build these relationships.
So the company does have the FCA clinic that's over on Connors.
Okay.
They will.
I thought it was on Jefferson. It's on Connors now?
It's on Connors.
Connors and
I
Jefferson?
wouldn't go
Yeah.
there.
Not on Jefferson.
It's on Connors.
Okay.
It's on Connors, but
I
it's
wouldn't go there.
okay. But I'm just saying, it's the FCA clinic for those that don't have a primary care doctor that need
I got
to
some
start.
of the best insurance in the world. Y'all need to get y'all personal care physician because you don't want FCA in all of your business.
Well, they ain't it anyway. They pay the bills. Yeah. So I mean, what I'm saying is just the option until you get out there, because they can give you the book from benefits and it's 1,000 doctors and then it's kind of hard to find the right one. So that's a starting point to at least go to the clinic and they either ask for a referral until you start doing your homework. Because if you fall sick, you really don't have time, but you need to go to somebody that's going to be able to at least fill out the paperwork properly and get you back in the building. Now it's on you to find an actual long-term primary care physician.
Hey, Jamil, what if I don't have a personal care physician? I don't like doctors and don't want to go to a doctor, and I just want to leave of absence. How do I go about that?
Well, your leave of absence needs to be substantiated why you need to take the leave of absence, right? On the floor is up to 28 days, but Human Resources is the ultimate decider if that leave of absence will be granted, but they will ask you for paperwork why you need to have a leave of absence, whether it's for medical, whether it's for school, and you're going to need to provide some type of documentation. Even if it's caring for a ill family member or handling some affairs of a deceased one, you still need to provide proof of why you need this leave of absence. So it's no longer, we used to be able to hook and crook, and if the floor granted it, HR normally was putting it in.
Yeah.
Now they're requiring substantiation paperwork for all leave of absence.
Is that contractual?
It's not, I mean, the leave of absence part is contractual, yes, sir.
So do they have to give?
No, they don't have to
anything
grant
that
it.
Say they have to approve it.
No, they don't have to approve those.
It's a request.
No, just the process is contractual, but they don't have to approve it. So it's not guaranteed. As I stated, we were able to get a lot of this stuff, like the doctor's notes, right? But now they've been reeled it in because they're seeing an influx of requests for leave of absences after people then exhausted the PA days and vacation days.
And
So
just
if I want to go on vacation and I done used up all my vacation and PA time, and I want to do a leave of absence so I can go to the Bahamas.
you cook.
What you say, Chef?
Cook.
That mean I can't go.
You can't go.
So only time we've seen them granted for an extended period of time is for those who have family out the country and it's not as easy to travel in and out of the country.
With travel restrictions.
Travel restrictions, and they may be stuck. So, they normally put that in advance that I'm going to be over there for 6 months, you know what I'm saying, or 3 months or something like that.
And to be honest, I had a conversation with Jennifer Campo, whatever her last name is, And whatever, I'm murdering it, but it is what it is. And it was about people going out of the country. Because I know certain people go out of the country every year or every other year for 6 months to see their family. And she told me that they're actually tightening the reins on that. They're trying to limit it to bereavements or a medical emergency, not just because I'm going to see my family from an old country. I haven't had one denied yet, but just the fact that she told me they are limiting that or looking at it now leads me to question, where we leading or showing me where they're going.
And just keep in mind per the language, when you do submit a LOA, they will be taking all your personal time away before they approve it.
That's true.
So they will make you exhaust your vacation and PA days, and then that time will start. So just keep that in mind there, and that is contractual, so they are going by the language.
So back to the medical, that's how we started this one off, is 7 days or earlier, not later, not the 8th day, right?
That's right.
Confirmation numbers, right?
That's right.
And then 30 days for your doctor to turn the paperwork in. And your doctor works for you, but build a relationship with your doctor. So that means establish a doctor. So when you have these issues, you can navigate it easier versus end up getting terminated and then being out there for a period of time with that thought of consideration, because then you are what they call AWOL, or did not report, or you don't have appropriate documentation to support what you're trying to do.
Yep, and just like that, 2 more things that I'm done. First and foremost, make sure you call off on time. That's an hour before shift to get everything started right. And just make sure that your doctor mess up is your fault, because you're responsible for him.
So you need to do the follow-up.
So you need to do the follow-up. You need to check the emails, and you need to call them and stay on top of them. You cannot tell us that my doctor did it, I didn't do it. Your doctor mess up is your fault. So you got to stay on top of that, and you got to call them. And that relationship that you build, and that professionalism, and that courtesy that you give is what you're going to need. And that grace, as Eric always tell me, that's what you're going to need to get that paperwork filled out right. So don't go acting a fool. Do what you're supposed to do and get that grace in return so you can get everything done.
And you want to make sure it's a real doctor and it's not Lil D from the east side, because they check all the notices. I mean, we've seen some that they come in and the notes and they're not matching up with the places not there. They'll hit the Google search and see this a vacant lot. So they validate all the information that you bring in. Yep. And they're validating everything you bring in. So please make sure it's not fraudulent, because that's SOC 1.
I was going to say they have a blacklist where if so many people are using the same doctor and the doctor's issuing out so many medical documentation for excuse of absence, they end up going on a list of investigation. They end up going on a list of we do not accept notes from this doctor. So you keep all that in mind. Keep all that in mind.
to yourself.
Yeah. Keep all that in mind. And at the end of the day, we all talking about, because these are the cases that we deal with. These are cases that we go to the office and have to argue. But ultimately, we do have an attendance counsel, Tish Hearns. If you need a refresher on that, and I'm going to post that too over the next couple of weeks, because she came down and did a podcast on attendance. But she's still in the plant. Give her a call. She can run down all the do's and don'ts as it relates to your attendance, because all this has a direct effect to your attendance. It's our way of just trying to put it forefront in your brain, but you need to know that, because the attendance is a no-fault policy. That means the company's saying it ain't their fault, and you saying it ain't your fault, and they they work for you, right? So keep that in mind.
One more thing.
Yes, sir.
Done. Hey, this is y'all for real. And for my people that's out there, because we made light of it, you don't got a doctor, you can ease in a conversation with a coworker by just simply stating something like, hey, man, you got a good doctor, because mine kind of falling off. And a lot of people that's sitting right next to you will be able to direct you to going to get you a personal care physician, because that's serious. So you can ease into that conversation without being embarrassed by saying that one you got, you really don't feel like he's checking you thoroughly, and that person probably got an A1 doctor, and you can take that recommendation, and that's how you can get you a doctor relationship started and ensure that you have a nice, long, healthy life.
Or just call Blue Cross.
That too.
Yeah, because they give you a whole long list of 20
too.
pages of doctors. Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about.
Chain of command, grievance procedure. We're gonna run this together: grievance procedure and process, and chain of command. I'm gonna speak from my perspective as a president. The grievance procedure and the process. The grievance starts at the steward level. I mean, any violations that may happen on the floor, with the exception of terminations, any issues that you're having on the floor, this contractual violation starts with your steward. And your steward comes out there, hear the concern, hear the complaint or the gripe, and I'm through the word gripe in there for a reason, because not every grievance is a grievance, it's a gripe. It's here the contractual violation. They investigate it, and then if they are unable to resolve it, then they write the grievance. And this is after 2 conversations. They have to have 2 opportunities to try to go out there and fix it or have a conversation with the management turn. At that point, the grievance get a number, it goes to the committee man, and this is where I got to pause. If the grievance goes to the committee man today, does not mean he's meeting on it tomorrow. And I'm speaking in defense of you guys right now, because I think that's the perception a lot of times. And the same thing when it comes to the vice president and president. When it comes down here, doesn't mean we're meeting on it tomorrow. There are other grievances that are in front of yours, because there's other people that may have been violated. But what will happen is you will get a grievance number, which makes it a legitimate document, right? At the point that they get a grievance number is a legitimate document, then the committee man will put it on his agenda. And he will start meeting on grievances based on the order that came in, sometimes depending on the committee man, on the seriousness of it, because if you're working and Ron is terminated, sometimes we have to balance it or the mode of it, but we have a consistent way of how we move through the grievance. At that point, if he meet on it and he's able to get it resolved, cool, bet we win it. If he's unable to get it resolved, then he has to put a package together, because 9 times out of 10, the committee man is not meeting on one grievance. He's meeting on, I don't want to use the word bulk, but I do want to say a series of grievances, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. He's not meeting on 50 grievances at one time. He's working on 5 to 10, 10 to 15 grievances, because you have to argue each grievance for what they are at that point in time. And then at that point, if the ones who get resolved, good. The ones who don't, at that point, he has to write a brief, a detailed brief to send up to the president, vice president, down here to the local. And that's explaining what was conversated in that meeting, was management disposition, what their disposition, here's the contractual language, here's what I got from the evidence and the investigation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All those things go into it. Here's the attendance record, call-in record, employment. There's a lot of things to go in there. And then once he get that brief completed for all those grievances, then he sends it up. And when I say he sends it up, he either brings it down here physically. No, that's the only way. Yeah, that's the only way. I had to stop myself. He brings it down here physically.
Back in the day, we used to email.
I was finna say email, but we don't do that. That's why I stopped. I caught myself. He brings it down here physically. The secretary here takes it in. At that point, myself or the vice president, we still don't have it. So you'll call and say, hey, I talked to the committee man, he says down at the local. You'll call me or Eric, and we'll be like, that ain't down here. Or we'll say we have to check and see if it's been reseated in, because the secretary at that point has to go through each grievance, create a file, put in an electronic grievance tracker, and then send out a grievance agenda to myself or the vice president. And then we have to follow the same process that the committee. We have to review all that, call you, hey, we got the grievance. 9 times out of 10, we send a letter from this local saying, hey, your grievance is here. If you have any additional information that you may want to add, then you can send it over. Here's our email address. And then we put it on an agenda. So the grievance procedure is not an overnight situation is what I'm trying to get at. And I know a lot of people think, because we get a lot of phone calls to say this. Hey, I'm fired. When I'm coming back. I can't give you an answer on that, because every grievance we take our due diligence to make sure that we put all energy and effort in arguing and fighting that case. And sometimes it's not one meeting. Sometimes it's a series of 2 or 3 meetings, because you're meeting with another human being on the other side of the table, and you're arguing contractual language. And sometimes the contractual language is either gray, or we arguing on a principle and a contractual language, or a past practice principle and there's a lot of variables in there, and it may take 2 or 3 meetings. And if we're unable to get it resolved, then we have to do the same process to send it up. That's the process. If you bypass, this is what I'm going to the chain of command. If you bypass the process, and if you call me, and Eric, you could chime in here, because I know me and you talk about this daily. You call me or you call Eric, and we be like, well, do you got a grievance? I don't know. I told my steward, do you got a grievance number? I don't know. At that point, it's nothing we can do for you besides tell you need to call your steward or your committee man. And if you tell me you do got a grievance number, then I know at that point you need to call your committee man. But that's it. Did you talk to your committee man? No, I ain't talked to him. Well, all I can do at that point, and it's not that we're spinning you, I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to hear your whole story, right? And I'm going to advise you, but one of the things I'm going to advise you is you need to call your committee man, because I don't have the folder with all this evidence that I just described in there for me to even start to speak on your behalf, because I don't know what he's done, because that committee man still have a process that he's going through to do his job in your defense. So I need the membership to really understand that, because it's called one hopping and jumping out of the chain of command at that point.
And then they got to look at, just to give a visual aid to capture what you just said, the steward, their grievance is a pool. The committee is a pond. But the VP and president, they got the ocean. So we talking about the size of the load when it comes to grievances. And you just can't touch them, that quick. Like if I drop down a load, it could be 50 grievances. That's just me as one committee man giving them 50 grievances. So imagine if 6 of us coming down here with that load, consistent load of grievances. That's a lot of grievances to sort through. And I get a lot of calls where they say, hey, look, do you have this grievance or that grievance? And I would say, yeah, I dropped it off. But again, it has to be processed. So it's not nothing that they're not doing or we're not doing. It's just a part of the process. And unfortunately, fortunately, we do put out these warnings so that way we don't get in the situation. But once we're in it, we just want to let you know and get you to understand the timelines with them. It's just not something that's instant. It takes time to work through them.
And if you are discharged, and this is the most important part, because myself and I know for a fact the president have a list of people that we had negotiated last year to come back, and we are not able to get in touch with those people. If you get fired, and you understand, how bills go, you might have to change your number, you might have to change your address. But that is your responsibility to make sure that you come down or call down to the local and update your information with Secretary Ada Smith. Very important.
I'm going to say this with that, and I agree with you 100%, because we don't know how to track you down. I'm sitting right now on a grievance. I know I've been talking to you about them. I won the grievance. I can't locate the employee, I'm trying my best efforts. But at some point, I'm going to have to send out a letter say, if you don't, to the last known address, and say, if you don't contact us within a certain time period, then I am going to have to move to a different direction, WWP the grievance. Now, with that being said, I will say this. The company address bank and our address bank are two different banks. The company is not willing to, and they're not as willing to give us the information they have, so we always tell people to register with us and register with the company. Make sure your address, your phone number, your email address is up to date here at the local, just like it is at the plant. I will reach back to some committee men and be like, hey, you got this person number, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because what I'm reading in Heist that was submitted, it didn't change 6 months later. So make sure, you guys keep that in mind. Also, on my last part, I see you over there, Ryan, but you are entitled to your grievance number. So when you ask for a grievance is written by the steward, he gets the number. At that point, he should provide you with a grievance number, because down here at the local, we reference a lot through the system by grievance numbers. And if you call down here, yeah, we try to chase it down by the name, but if you don't have a grievance number, it just makes that process so much harder and longer. But once again, it goes back to chain of command. If you're talking to your steward on a regular basis, especially if you got a grievance in the system, or your committee man on a regular basis, especially if you got a grievance in the system, understand that you wouldn't be calling here or above the committee man or above the steward unless you had a full understanding where you were at that step. So those are the things that I think that the membership needs to understand. Our grievance log, we did good. We negotiated and we got grievance log down to, it was around 800. No, we got it down to about 300 to 400 grievances. It's starting to tick up. Management's not going to do the right thing. That's why we say, hey, management's not your friend. But also keep in mind that we have to adhere to some of the rules that we agreed to when we signed this contract, and some of these SOCs been in place for a long time. And that kind of goes back to our last podcast about marijuana and drinking and attendance. The company is taking a position now that if you was fired once, whereas you used to be able to get Chuck Archer back 6 months from now their attitude is take it to arbitration, send it all the way up. We ain't bringing them back.
Arbitration ain't no joke.
I tell you, some of these cases that come back from arbitration, because we all look at them, we be like, wow, oh, okay,
Man, but how you gonna tell me that you got Mike back? Why you can't get me back?
And I'm gonna tell you why, because every case is different based on the circumstances. And it used to be a seniority was a big thing, and seniority still do matter. Don't get me wrong, but now Mike may have not been unconditional. Mike may have got fired for, I don't know, coming to the late line and not wearing safety glasses on, which put him in conditional. Now I'm in a better position to say that was a minor infraction, even though it's really not minor in their eyes, versus Jamel, who got fired for coming to the line late and cussing out the supervisor. So with that being said, we always push forward with each case, but we have to treat them as individuals because management or labor treat each case as non-precedent setting.
Man, so that means I just got to mind my own business and worry about myself at that point.
Hey, so to explain this consideration.
Absolutely,
that,
right.
that labor has been telling all of us.
And the timeline.
It's getting to the point where the contract, it never told us that you would get your job back. We had just got so great at our job that everybody just felt like the language just automatically said you can get another opportunity. It said that they gonna take it into consideration. So now we was going with a lot of y'all not bargaining in good faith. So now they got wiser. They tell you, okay, we gonna think about these cases. They hear us out. And they considerably tell us no in about 2 to 3 days later. But at that point, they protected themselves from any further grievances or any further, NLRB charges because they did consider it. They walked away for 2 days. Whether they thought about the case, whether they already had their mind predetermined, they're not showing their hand. They sitting there with interest. They letting us pour our hearts out and go to factual. And then next thing you know, when they come back, they say, all right, we considered it, but no, the answer is no. We're not bringing them back. But you can WWP it right now and be done. So now we trying to give y'all a fighting chance, so we send it up to try to take it to step after step after step, but they considering it and then they telling us no.
But we also gotta mention that even with the consideration, a lot of times we'll get the members to say, but are you gonna fight for me? It's only a fight if it was unjust or we deemed it to be excessive. But if you actually did it, you took the fight from me. Now I'm in the position of asking. I always say that. I'm in the position of asking. And based on relationships that we used to have, we can get them to reconsider their position, even if they figure, you know what, for Rick, I ain't doing nothing for him. But you know what, for you, VP, I'm going to give him a shot. They done took that from us because now everything is coming from top down. The corporation in Auburn Hills is saying, hey, you got to tell us why you brought Michael Spencer back. You got to tell me why you brought Jamil Mims back. And if you can't give me nothing, now your job is in jeopardy. So it makes it that much harder. So that's why we really doing these podcasts and things to make sure that you don't even get in that position to where somebody that don't even work in the building that don't know you have to make a decision about you because it's only personal on the plant level because we know you. But the higher it go, they just want to know the facts. Did you do it? And if it's yes, then they looking like, well, what are we talking about? So just don't put yourself in that predicament. But it's definitely real. It's definitely timelines. If you out based on your seniority, you could be upwards of a year all the way to 3 months. It just depends. But the word that's used is consideration. So calling every day is not going to change their consideration. So just want to put those words out there.
And then people have to understand when the decision is made to withdraw a grievance, whether it's at our level or up at the appellate level, it is done so a precedent can't be set based off of that case. Because if it goes to the appeals board and they rule on that case, that can have lasting effects on every other case that comes after that that's similar to that. So you have to be very careful when you get fired and it's just, because there's no cookie cutter thing like, I was absent 9 times, 6 months I should be able to be back. No, it don't work like that. You were absent. You violated it. The company didn't do anything wrong. You made a mistake. And they don't have to give you a second chance. They don't have to give you a third chance. They most definitely ain't gonna give you a 4th chance. So you have to understand these jobs pay great. The benefits are crazy. Even without a profit sharing this year, it's still a good job. If you don't believe it, ask the people that got terminated that's calling us 24/7 that's trying to get back because there's nothing out there that pays like Stellantis.
Shoot, I was a drop the mic moment because that's the facts and that's the truth, right?
Yeah.
So,
I got one thing.
Yeah.
So, and two, remember, based on your seniority, is when we can even talk about it.
yeah, there's a chart in the book that say,
It's a chart right here. I got it.
Okay.
20 years or more, 3 months. 15 to 26 months. 5 to 15, 9 months, and 2 to 5 years, a whole year.
Wait a minute.
and what's
No,
the sentence
go to
after that?
One after that.
Yeah, I know where you're going,
One
yeah.
after that, 0 to 2 years, no reinstatement at all.
There you go.
Period.
And you'll be surprised, I've gotten, to that sentence after that, I've gotten grievances within the last 6 months of people who got 9 occurrences within 2 years, but it wasn't 2 years fully. And I told,
Nothing we could do.
it's nothing I can do. It clearly says,
No merit.
it don't even say consideration for them. It says, no reinstatement.
And I guess what Chuck that hit home with, because people got to understand we can't even go in there and speak on it. And at the moment we do, they got the right to say, "Hey, it's not even up." So now I go
Beat
to
it,
third
Buster.
step. Now I got to
Yeah.
send it up, and then it go to the bottom of the pile in order received up there. So now you might even be longer than 9 months, because I don't know what their agenda is. So we keep them and hold them so we don't get rid of y'all. We trying to win it and get it back, but we have to wait until that time frame come to even add you to the agenda to have a discussion about your
In
case.
order to be considered, because a lot of them still call and say, okay, it's been 6 months, so when I'm coming back? It doesn't work that way. I can go in and we can have the conversation, but if it's legit, the first thing they're gonna say is, where's the company liable? This is a UAP, which is attendance. And I got nothing. Because the relationship thing, they've abolished all of that. So I can't just go in there and just use my personality and wit to get it done because somebody else is making the decision. So
we can't use the "I was young and
No.
immature"?
No, you can't use that. Even if you use, well, this guy got 35 years, that makes you even look worse because in their mind, with that type of seniority, you should be coaching other people to do better. So going in there and saying how much time you have don't make you look better. It actually makes you look worse. So just keep those things in mind. And like you said, we're not trying to be doom and gloom. We just want to make sure that you don't be on the other side of consideration. We just want to make sure that you don't even go there.
And don't think for 1 minute we don't care, because if we wouldn't care, we all wouldn't have no grades coming and going bald and all the rest of that stuff. We actually care. So don't take it like that. It actually hurt us that you out, and it come to that point where the rubber meet the road. We human. So at the end of the day, we know you got a family to feed, and that's why sometimes we so tough on y'all. And some people reply like, "Man, you ain't my parent. I ain't trying to be your parent. Trust me, not. But I'm trying to keep you from going on that other side to where them paychecks don't look the same. They don't feel the same." And me and Eric always talk. Home don't feel like home when you don't know how you're gonna be able to pay for it and take care of it. It becomes a place of stress. It becomes a place of worry, and I don't want y'all to get in that predicament. So if we kind of hard on y'all, it's to keep y'all from going that route. And while you out, it ain't coming back so fast. But if we do, and when we do get you back, we got people going back out as fast as they came in. Please just take this as a blessing, because that's what it is, and do the right thing. But if you out there, keep praying and keep hanging in there, and we fighting for you. We just want you to know that it's just not a revolving door no more, and they making it their mission to let us know that.
I
On
got,
that company car when you get discharged.
say it again, Eric.
Speak about that company car.
The company
when you get
car.
discharged.
Still responsible for it.
I got to jump in there because these some things, and I not even discussed this with you guys yet. It's just some things that have been in my mind, and I've been thinking about it lately. We as a local, we as a membership, we have to make a decision. I ain't talking about your leadership now. I'm talking about the members who elect us to be the leaders of this local. We got to make a decision. Do we want to continue down a path of spending 90% of our time fighting for 10% of the membership who we know, and this ain't gonna be popular, what I'm gonna say, who we know are repetitive, as you always say, habitual line steppers, or are we gonna start spending some of the time with the folks who do come in and do the right thing? Because I know, and I'm speaking for myself, I ain't speaking for y'all, I know I find myself representing and defending, and sometimes, I ain't got good at doing what I'm doing, getting back some of the same folks that I've gotten back a year ago or 2 years ago repetitively. And then I do, I look at social media and I listen to people's union meetings, and the consensus is, y'all keep on getting them back, what about us? And I have to go home and look at myself and say, you know what, you're right. Not that I'm not gonna put the same energy and effort up if you got in that position, but as a membership, at some point, right do become right, especially as it relates to contract. 'Cause when we got hired in, we understood the rules of the game. It's just after we got in for so long, we start figuring out how we can bend the rules and find loopholes. And then when we get caught up, we rely on our leadership to get us out of it. But to be repetitive, at some point, we as a local have to decide, and I say the local, not just the leadership, what direction do we want to go? Because I truly believe that we got a great local with some great people who just want to come in and make their money and go home. But because we have a percentage of people who are habitual alliance steppers who don't believe doo-doo stink, and we sometimes become an enabler by using a contract to continue to do the things that we're doing, and that's why labor is being micromanaged by corporate. Right now, labor, they can't make a decision. Every decision, like you explained, has to go up, and somebody has to, okay, explain to me why you did it. Because what they said, not just SHAP either, it's been all the plants. The union has kicked y'all butt so much based off of these relationships and contractual language that we're going to make a decision up top first. And it's handcuffing us, putting us in a situation. And I don't think that's the direction we really want to go long term.
I figure give them what they begging for. If you don't want to be here, I mean, you just don't be here. I mean, I know it's unpopular to say, but for somebody that comes to work every day, I know people have been out there 30 years, never missed a day, never been late, but they're under the same atrocious attendance procedure as those that just never come to work. Now, I'm not talking about that's sick or have things going on. You just really can't make it because the company give you legal ways to take off. I'm talking about the unauthorized, the people that just jump up and say, I'm not going just because I'm not going. You know, we have to carry each other to the finishing line. And if we out here thinking about it selfishly, you know, that could become a problem.
And I ain't just talking about attendance, because we always harp on attendance.
Yeah.
I'm talking about SOCs
Everything.
all together, because we
Everything.
all have seen the videos of people fighting in the plant. I mean, busting each other up in the head. And you be like, you know, what's so serious? You stick a stone, break my bones? I'm trying to get that bread. I'm trying to get that check. And we lose sight of what we came there for.
Yeah. I mean, I know when I got the job, I mean, it was like winning the lottery because I had 2 jobs prior to getting this one job. So to have one job that take care of everything, where you go in any store you want and you say, you know what, I'm going to take that. I don't have to finance it. That's a blessing. You know, some people think you're going to quit here and go somewhere else. They say, I don't need this job. I'm out of here. Well, you know what? That ain't me. I need my job, and I'm not afraid to say it. But we must conduct ourselves in a manner that we do care for our jobs, because when contract negotiations come up, all these bad habits and things, that's the first thing they throw in our face. Well, your people don't do this or do that. And it's really not us as a collective body. It's just that small portion that's doing these things. So we just got to look out for each other and make sure we hold those accountable. If you see absenteeism going on, back when we got in, they tell you, bring your butt to work. They didn't want to hear nothing else. They didn't want to hear no excuses, no nothing. They just say, come to work. And that's what I'm imploring everybody to do. Come to work and follow the rules. And trust me, everything else will fall in line, because you'll help your stewards and your reps at that point, because now they can go out there and beat management up and say, no, Mike here every day. He working to the man assignment. Why you over here? Now I can go out there and I can act a fool. But I can't go out there and act a fool and you did what they say you did. It just makes it hard. So we just got to, like the president say, we got to choose. Either we're going to stand behind those that's tearing us down, or we're going to stand with those that's help building us up.
Now, I know we said we was going to try to make these podcasts short, but, you know, they be just going on. So I got one more topic that I'm going to defer to Jay on. Then we'll do another podcast. 66C process. Explain that, Jay.
Well, that's when you go into the hub or employee central and choose a department that you want a better department from where you're working at currently.
Can't you go in there and put it in for them?
No.
Don't you got access to change it?
No, sir.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Right. So this is when you go in there and you choose. You got 6 options to choose other departments. Your first through 6th choice, if you want to choose a better department from where you currently work at. Now, it's imperative once you choose a shift in the department, if you're selected, you must go. Right. A lot of people are putting them in, and when they get the department that they're working in, they don't like the team or the job, so they run and put a transfer in and forget all about it. So now they done got to somewhere where they really like within the department, and they finally won a job. It's 6-8 months later, they done won a job they like, and boom, here come the transfer, right? And they screaming they don't want to go.
Right.
right? We have no way of knowing that your circumstances have changed. All we see is 1,000 names on a spreadsheet that comes from human resources when it's time to pull those transfers. And when you're selected, you must go.
Anybody else got something on that? Chuck, because your department is the one that always get deferred to,
Chuck,
right? Because I know there's a training to your
you can't stop
department,
it from
right?
me, Chuck?
Right?
No, I can't stop.
I know there's
Only thing
disqualifications
that
from your
happen in materials,
department.
If you come to materials, they give you a 45-day where you get to train because everybody can't drive a high level. Everybody can't pass the test. So you got 45 days. If you can't pass the test, you get disqualified. You get to go back to your department.
I can't go to Kitsell?
No.
Okay.
You gotta have a license. You gotta have a tugger license and a high-low license. Plain and simple. If you can't have both of them, you get disqualified.
And you can't say, you can't hook me up.
No, I can't hook you up.
Yes, sir.
One more thing, and probably you and Jamil and them need to discuss this. High absenteeism and management deciding to move the lower seniority people out of the department and moving them to areas where they need help. Is it contractual?
That's legal if they're shutting the operation down, and if you're the lowest seniority in the department.
Yeah, like recently, we haven't done this in a while. But when I was a steward, we did it all the time.
Yeah, we did
they
too.
had to shut down the repairman, and they go in the system, trim chassis, final, get on a repair job. Repairman in that department had to get on the job, and they had to stop. Nobody can do their job until they come back. It's the same thing now.
And you're right. And I'd like to add, if you just over in the department, if you just got the overages, they don't got to send you home. They can take it from the lowest and send them over to somewhere where they short. Right. So I don't want y'all to get it confused with Ron. They got to stop out. No, we 15 plus. They come in and get that 15 from the bottom, and they about to send them to the departments that need to run.
And don't send everybody up to 9190, please.
Yeah, we'll make
get
sure.
100 drivers.
Yes,
don't
sir.
send no part-timers up there.
And please don't, if you're tapped on the shoulder and told that you have to go out of your department, tell the supervisor, well, I'm just going FMLA, because then you're putting yourself in a different jackpot.
Do it on the protest, call your steward.
And we'll come out there and steward to get out there and sort it out to make sure they got the right people, and then we'll just roll from there.
Exactly.
All right, before we close this one out, and we're going to hit you with a couple of more over the next couple of weeks. Like I said, we're doing a series, but before we do close this one out, I do want to say, how they say, look at your neighbor and tell them you love them. Our members, we do have some scenario. That's a beautiful thing.
Love you,
I
Pop.
love y'all too.
Love you, man.
Yeah, I love you too, man.
Love you, E.
That's a beautiful thing. And I'm gonna tell you what, 'cause we argue, whether y'all believe it or not, we do argue amongst ourselves, but arguing to get to the right point and everything. And before I go into what I was gonna go to, over the last couple of weeks you've been doing these podcasts, I'm looking at you guys and I notice everybody got a specialty they speak very well to. Not saying we all don't know the contract, because we do. That's why we got where we at. But there's certain areas where I could be like Ron or Jay or Chuck or Eric or Rick or even myself, and you're very, very fluent in it. And the other ones, you're okay, I know it, but that's what makes a team. That's what makes a team. Yeah.
You the quarterback, you the running back.
Yeah. And we rely on each other. But what I was going to go into though is we've been having some tragic issues in the plant, whether it has been deaths, whether it's been news reports, whether it's been suicides. We have an EAP route, and some things that we can't control, a lot of things we can't control, but death just by natural causes, we can't control that. But we want to be sensitive to it to the extent of a lot of times when people die, we always hurt and go to mourn, but when they 80, 88, 90, 95, we want to live forever, but we kind of accept in our heart that we know at some point they was going to pass. When they're passing away at 45, 50, 55, 35, 25, it's difficult. 21, it's difficult to digest. It's difficult to swallow or accept, and we struggle with that. Even if it's not our coworker, it's a member of our own family who's outside the plant. It affects the employee, the worker, our brother and sister in the plant. I'm asking our members not only to continue to say a prayer, because every Christmas it seems like we lose somebody. Every time we go downtown, I hate it because it seems like we lose somebody. But we finna start getting into the hotter weather too. The city lights come out and we be out there. Be safe, be careful, think about your brothers and sisters, and just take the time to look over at your neighbor at the job and at home, and just let them know, hey, I care about you. Exercise a little bit more patience. Give the benefit of the doubt.
Patience.
Also, one other thing, go along with EAP. That's something that you have to initiate. They're not gonna come to you because they don't know. So some people want to keep things private, but a lot of times, if you're hurting inside or dealing with a lot of things, you can't really understand how to process something. Reach out to the EAP. They definitely have tools to help point you in the direction that you need to get the support and help that you need. I mean, obviously, we're rallying around you as far as prayer and support, but we only could do so much. You know, you got to tag in the professionals to really get in there and unbraid a lot of things that you may be going through. But the first step is making that connection with the EAP to explain to them what your issues are, and they're there and trained to be able to get you the resources that you need. So please take advantage of that negotiated benefit, because it is pivotal, because people just, you know, they out there, they hurting, and they don't know how to process that hurt when you're talking about loss or just different things, relationships. I mean, different things that we deal with, the stress of the job. But reaching out to that EAP will definitely help you get the resources that you need to help deal with whatever life is throwing at you, because it's not easy, but you have to make that first step. So please, I encourage you to do so.
All right. With that, what you got something, Chuck?
No, I'm good.
All right. With that, we going.
Congratulations to everybody that retired.
Oh yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh yeah. We're gonna close this one out, man. We'll see y'all on the following week. Like I said, we're doing the series. We got about maybe 3 more podcasts that we're gonna put in there, and then, like I said, I'm gonna drop some old ones in there too, just for your review. Y'all have a good one. Take it easy. Deuces.
Are we really happy here with this lonely game we play? Looking for words to say, searching but not finding understanding anywhere. We're lost in a masquerade, both afraid to say we're just too far away.